Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good to see so many people joining the call, and I'm sure our speakers make it all, coming from various sectors, stalwarts in their area. And the topic is also very pertinent to the industry. Was there anybody speaking? Okay. All right. So, today's discussion is on the great tech talent shortage, and we are going to discuss this topic with the eminent speakers we have. We have Anjana, who is the General Manager, HR, Head of Talent Acquisition, BFSI segment at Tata Consultancy Services, and she is also the Honorary Joint Secretary for NHRE Bangalore Chapter. We have Aditya Pal Singh, we call him Adi. He is the Director and Head Talent Acquisition at Informatica. We have Praveen Bhuna, Head of Recruitment and Employment Marketing HR at Airbus. We have Abdul with us, who is the HR Lead GTS India Verizon. Due to some personal emergency, Gautam couldn't join today, and he texted early in the morning a text to me saying that he would not be able to join because of some personal emergency in his family. So we have Manas, who is the chairperson for Young BCIC Expert Committee, who would be moderating the session. We also have Augie on the call. Augie is the chairperson of the HR and Women Expert Committee of BCIC. Lavanya couldn't join. She is the co-chair alongside Augie. Thanks, Augie. Thanks for joining. All right, just to set the context, Bangalore Chamber of Industry and Commerce is a 42 years old industry chamber, have been working with various organizations in various sectors. We are sector agnostic. We have committees starting from aerospace to agri to IT to academia. And this session is being organized by the Young BCIC and the HR Expert Committee of Bangalore Chamber of Industry and Commerce. In this discussion, we will try to elucidate how deep the tech shortage is. What are the real challenge on the ground, the cost of this challenge, and dwell into the stakeholders feel are potential alternative sources of talent looking at alternative ecosystems. We would also want to understand and hear from the speakers on the best practices and the innovative practices from their organization, which would of course be a great insight for the audience we have. And how can we couple skilling strategies along with innovative recruitment approaches to better results for the business? Not taking much of the time, handing over to Manas.
Thank you, Richa. Thank you for the introductions. I will start with a couple of slides and go over to the panelist today.
If I can request the speakers to come on video, or maybe I can't see. Can I request?
Yeah, they are all on video.
All right, great. Thanks. Yeah, I could see your picture.
All right. Apologies for holding all of you. I got delayed. I had to pick up my son from somewhere and got delayed. The road was getting tired, etc., etc. So, typical Bangalore story. All right, so let's get started. I picked up this image from a site called dax.com. And this picture actually shows a kind of heat map, the geographical heat map in terms of how severe the talent shortage is in each of the countries across various continents. The more the redder they are, the more severe the crisis is. And you can see that some of the countries who are our regular trade partners, which are, for instance, US and a number of countries within the Europe, are facing severe challenges in terms of resource crunch. And when we talk about severe shortage of talent within within the US and countries within Europe, what it boils down to is also serious demand on India, because all these countries look primarily to India for their talent supply. India itself, as a result of that, and also because of its own reasons, India itself is also facing severe talent shortage. And we are going to see how we delve on that. We are going to debate on that today. So that is the purpose of this panel discussion today. I have also taken the liberty of picking up a topic, an article from Forbes, which was from this year. Sorry, last year, late last year, October 2021. And it says that why talent, the article is named Why Talent Sustainability is Key in the Tech Talent Shortage. And I picked up a portion of that article. It says that the hiring landscape in 2021, so basically that trend continues in today's day, and it's likely to continue for the next few years. It goes on to say most likely in the next few years is very much a candidates market, which we are facing right now. What's more, the vast majority of the new talent coming into the tech space consists of young graduates in high demand with something to prove. To rub salt in the wound, a post pandemic survey from Deloitte revealed that Gen Z has actually overtaken millennials as being the generation most interested in leaving their companies, with over 50% actively thinking about changing their jobs in the next couple of years. Takeaway: businesses are going to need to proactively engage candidates on their terms and put real efforts into talent nurturing, career building, and worthwhile incentives. Very good perspective, very interesting perspectives, and we are going to hear from our panelists today as to what their opinions are, what they are facing within their organizations, and what their opinions are in terms of how we can um, tide over this challenge. So I'll stop sharing the PPT and I'll go over to the panelists. So thank you, Richa, once again for introducing them. So my first question, possibly to Abdul from Verizon. So Abdul, Verizon is a captive services and products organization in the telecom domain. When we talk about talent shortage, it's a very broad term, and the implication or the cost of shortage will vary from organization to organization based on the nature of the business and the way the talent is deployed, dominant role types in the organization, etc. So, from the perspective of an organization of your type, Abdul, what are the implications that you are observing and how it is hurting, if it is hurting?
All right, thanks. Thanks for having me today for this session, and I hope you guys can hear me. All right.
Yes, we can.
So
Loud and clear.
I would probably see this as a positive. Why? Because this is not a shortage. This may be an abundant opportunity for employees and employers to see how this whole growth is really going to stabilize in the tech industry. And I don't think this is the first time we are seeing this. We have seen in 2000, in mid of 2000, that every time when there is a need arises, we all come into the fact that, oh, there is a tech shortage. When reality happens, there's more jobs creates, more skills come to the market, more expertise come to the market. Each companies are going to benefit out of this need, what they are going to arise. So when the opportunities arise in a very short bubble, uh, what happened, most of the companies are may not be ready for that bubble, or may not be prepared for how to manage some of the talent what they have, not to let them go. And what happens because of this movement, some of the continuity can interrupt, right? What the people who are working on a particular project or a critical project, they move out, then everyone will run around to see how we can really get a new team into the play, how fast they can hit the ground, how can I increase the productivity, how can I really see that is not going to impact my target which I am set for the December month. So I think it also gives an alarm for each employers to see that how we are planning our total talent strategy. What is that we need to really look into it? How are we looking at a roadmap? What is that we need to really build so that it really helps us to have that engagement track with our employees and our organization. It also provide opportunity for employees to look around because So what happened in 20, from starting from 2020, each employee started looking inward and see how can I take a self-assessment. Do I am I doing the right job, or am I getting the right exposure? Because of that, what happened, and the opportunities is hitting them, they start exploring that in the market. It may not be that they are not getting the opportunity within the organization, but obviously when choices comes into play, we always try to see that which choice is better. So I think this opportunity is a, for me, it's an opportunity for everyone, for an employee and an employer. And how are we prepared to manage this bubble is what everyone needs to think, to see that it really manages and become healthy for both employee and employers. That's what I would say, Manas.
Thank you, Abdul. That was a very nice perspective. You have kind of brought out the opportunity aspect from the challenge that we are facing, and that's a great perspective. Uh, we can go over to you, Aditya, from Informatica, which is a products and services organization. I mean, mainly products, I believe. So, what would be your perspective in terms of the implications or the cost that you are facing?
Yeah, thanks, Manas. Thank you very much for having me. And great to see Augie after a long time. We only bump in webinars, so great to see him again. Uh, talking about talent shortage, and if you, if all of us can recall when you showed that heat map, which you had showed in the starting, I think a lot of countries have realized two things. One, they don't have the talent. Right? If you look at states, if you remember, it was completely red. Why is it red? Because they don't have technology talent. And during the lockdown, they realized they don't have it. And what has happened post that is you have who's who setting up their operations in India. And there is a big churn there from a technology standpoint. If you look at earlier reports, last year there were about 44 unicorns which came to India. This year, apparently, the projection now is about 70. So look at the stress on the talent which will be available. And to right way, unicorns are ready to pay a lot of money to make sure they have the right talent in, because they are in the nascent phase and they have the initial money and funding. Right? That's how it works. Uh, you know, so and all companies are irrespective of the industry, they're all digitizing. So Biocon, any other pharma, anything, they're all digitizing. So there is huge plethora from a technology standpoint, and this is the same issue. So your current employee from here, from a product company, can also go to a pharma company, which earlier may not be happening, right? So the scope of movement is far more higher as compared to what could have been much earlier, right? From an organization standpoint. Plus, there is a big churn of Gen X on the verge of retiring. I think that's also another shift. Gen Z, as you said, has just walked in. So they have different expectations from a employment standpoint. So I was reading an article. A lot of time now, people are moving from a hobby to a career, making a career out of a hobby, right? As suddenly you see a upsurge of stand-up comedians, which wasn't there right earlier, but now suddenly you see a big surge. So a lot of people are moving in that direction. Um, the issue with a lot of companies today face is one on the retention, which I'm sure you will touch upon later on. Uh, you know, uh, you know, Organizations are losing time when you don't have individual in place and losing on projects, assignments, which happens to a lot of companies. Then there is lack of skilled people. While you have people there, you need the right set of people. The problem is the technology shelf life is moving such a fast pace, Manas, today. By the time you get the person in, it's already moved up, right? For anybody who's studying right now, maybe by the time they pass out, there'll be new age technologies which would have come up. But then I still see a gap between what is taught in education institute to what corporate wants, right? And so this whole epitome of movement of talent is becoming an issue from an organization perspective, and a lot of organizations are putting things into place. And somebody coined this as great resignation. I think it's more of great realization of saying that, hey, I don't think I need so many things in my house. This is People's life priorities have changed during COVID and post COVID. You've realized things can be done from home. You've realized that these things are important to you. your earlier your life was around your work. Now your work might be around your life, or other way around. So other way around. So it has moved. The the candidates have moved. The employers need to move. If they don't move, as you said, they will be caught wanting in that particular stage. So it's both movement. I just want to give a little larger perspective of how things are happening, and all of us, irrespective of industry, even in technology is even higher, there is shortage for talent, and but the market itself is very competitive. But if you have the right employee value proposition, what you can bring to the table, you will be able to retain a lot of folks. Manas, I'll hand it back to you.
Thank you, Aditya. Anjana, TCS is a different beast, extremely large organization employing over 5 lakh or 6 lakh employees in India and abroad. So from the large service company, I mean, TCS also has lots of products, including banking products like banks, world-leading products, but predominantly services. From that perspective, what are your opinions about the cost and implications?
Thank you, Manas and Richa, for having me here. And it's lovely to be part of this wonderful panel. Lovely to hear the inputs from my panel members as well. I love the positive note, Abdul, you gave, because I think, viewing everything positively and with gratitude in the current pandemic, I think sets the tone for everything, right? So that is where I'll probably give a human touch to my answer, being a true HR person at heart. Now, I would take it at two levels. At an organization level, the minute there is talent shortage, we are looking at direct impact on productivity and competitiveness. So this is something that I think it is not, related to one specific organization. I think every organization, probably at this current era, does go.
Did we lose Anjana? I guess we lost
Yeah, I
Anjana.
think she got dropped off. Yeah.
Yeah. Just give her a minute. You're on mute, Anjana. We lost you for a moment.
Yeah, I think
So you are again on mute.
somebody is muting me. I'm not doing anything.
Oh.
Somebody does, yeah, I think somebody doesn't want me to talk.
Technology, occupational hazard.
Occupational hazard, right? Yeah. So, yeah. So what I'm trying to say is can I go ahead?
Yeah, please, please.
Yeah, so from a company and an organization perspective, if I view it widely, it is an opportunity lost in terms of being competitive and continuing to be competitive. And the minute there is a shortage, the opportunity to create value is also some. So these are the corollary to that is that. The kind of exit that happens in organizations, right? The attrition that happens in organizations. So both these together becomes a deadly, duo for any organization to handle at the moment. And the other area that I wanted to touch upon was from an individual level, at the team member level. So I'm going to a very operational, parameter here. The minute there is shortage, the pressure within the existing teams also will go up, right? Because especially in the current scenario, where pandemic is has come to stay, and all of us are reprioritizing what we want to do with our lives. That time it becomes a catch 22, especially when there is a talent shortage. There are instances where people are caught wherein they are able to deliver whatever is required, but at the same time, given some more bandwidth, they will be able to deliver much more, right? So at an individual level, it creates a little bit of pressure that leads to other important aspects of mental well-being and health, etc., which gets affected. So widespread, I would say, at the risk of really sounding very blunt, I feel these are some of the implications at the individual level, at the team member level. And other, probably I would put it, as an impact would be the minute there is talent shortage, the cost of labor goes up. Cost of the training and development, because you have to reskill, you have to cross-skill individuals. Of course, we will be discussing some of those aspects a little while later. However, the cost of recruitment goes up, right? Because we will have to pay higher and higher to get the talent, because talent now it's a talent driven market. So the price is stated by the talent, right? So obviously, these are some of the initial level thoughts that I thought I will share, and I'll hand it back to you, Manas.
Yeah, I mean, I can relate to all of that or most of that. I mean, you have to do recruitment more number of times. I mean, for the same position in the team, you have to the number of times you have to recruit over a given period of time is much more.
Yes.
All right, so Praveen, you come from a different type of organization, and we are very glad that we have representation from different types of organizations so that we capture different perspectives. So yours is a one of the two largest aircraft manufacturers in the world, and captive setup for IT in India. You look for very high quality. I mean, you probably have a smaller base compared to other organizations, but you look for very high quality talent. So, from your perspective, what are the kind of common business implication, cost implication, other operational implications?
Praveen, you're audible.
Can't hear you, Praveen. Maybe do you want to try dropping out and coming back in? Yeah. Okay. So we'll give him a moment. Maybe he's facing trouble. So in the interest of time, we'll probably go ahead to the next question. Again, common phenomena in the market. The temptation to jump laterally is just too high at this moment. I mean, some of you have already spoken about it. And given the compensation hikes, any lateral movement is literally attracting humongous compensation hikes in the new organization. So what are the, I mean, given your type of organizations, your type of roles, common roles in the organizations, role patterns, etc. What are the causes and patterns you are observing for experienced resources resignation? So we are talking about not talking about fresher 0 to 2 or 0 to 3 years bracket, but more experienced lateral resignations. So we start with Abdul yourself.
Yeah, so I think from a uh, resignation perspective or people leaving for new opportunity, I think, as I mentioned, people get a choice of to see what is there. First thing, based on their aspiration, it's not about what they don't have in the organization, but the opportunity outside. It's like, when you see a TV advertisement, you maybe tempt to try that product. So when opportunity is knocking at you every day, even if you are happy in your organization, you will try, let me try and see what is that in that. So maybe that intrinsic or extrinsic opportunity for factors and influence candidates to take a step back and see, let me take an assessment of myself. What is that, and how would I look like in the market? So when they start looking at it, then it's very difficult for any organization to probably retain them, because they are already in that road. They will see a lot of fruits and trees, greens. Then it's very difficult to come back if they think, oh, in this particular playground, I have very less tree and less fruits. I'm seeing a lot of trees and fruits in the outside the market. So right, it's very, very difficult for any employer to really bring them back to the own ground once they started in that journey. So some of the factors what I have seen or noticed is that one is they see that the growth is pretty much uh, possible if they really look out, because they see the growth in more. Some people see the growth as horizontal factors. Some people will see the vertical factors. Some people see that growth is not an aspect. I need compensation which defines my growth. So it depends on each individual what they look as an aspect of looking out for a change. That's one thing. The second thing is the opportunity. For example, some people, the mismatch of the job title and the job what they do, right? They probably will hire people like full stack. We probably will hire people like data science is a very fancy title. We give this fancy title to people. Once they start doing, they realize that they may not be doing exact data science job what they intend to do or what they were experienced at. So then what will happen, that unhappiness will slowly trigger and see, okay, let me try and see whether I get a data science according to my definition, whether I get that job, whether they get or not. But when they join the new employer, they will realize whether I am doing better than what I was doing in the previous job. So the mismatch of understanding or expectations also trigger people to look out for a change. Another thing, the peer pressure, right? My batch, somebody who studied in my school 10th, after we have not met, but when I met him, he said, I am an X company, I'm getting X value. Oh, why I'm not getting that? Why am my title is different? So the peer pressure is also adding pressure on them to see how I can really see to match with my peers, which are way according to what definition they have for each one of us, because we don't know what each one is define, what is their aspiration or success rates for them. Another thing, if you really see, is that how the job market is opened up, right? It's like, again, in after March 2020, we all now exploring big basket, all of online purchase. You don't have to step out. You can really just a couple of clicks, you will get the things at home. If you really look at the job market today, they don't have to step out for an opportunity. Everything is on in front of their computer screen or in their mobile, so that they have to just click and see the interviews happen on mobile, the job application happens on mobile. The constant is the candidate who is sitting at their home or wherever they are, but everything is open for them. Whether they can apply for a job in Punjab sitting in Chennai, or they can really apply a job in Chennai sitting in Punjab. Nobody is looking for a relocation for them, right? So the opportunity is humongous, enormous for them to really see that the factors which decided earlier for somebody to shift a job is become shrink. It is very, very limited, one or two reasons for them to shift a job. So when these opportunities are going up, I am getting a lot of offers or a lot of opportunities in my plate. Why can't I try it? As an employer, I can stop only when or till when I am able to stop them before they apply for a job. Once they apply for a job, whatever you say, it may not really work, because always they see that green, far is green, right? The other side always is greener for them. So employees, as my fellow panel said, whatever you're doing from a retention perspective or providing opportunity perspective or providing growth and development perspective, we need to really plan, not at the time when people really put down the paper and see that what can we do after they decided to leave. We need to have a plan in place. How are we going to look at our talent strategy? As I mentioned, for every company, it is important to have that AOP, the annual operating plan, where they want to meet, what is their talent strategy, how are they going to meet the talent strategy, and what are some of the challenges they may foresee during this journey, and what is the mitigation plan. Some of us really work on the mitigation plan after jumping to the what and see how can I recover from this, right? So I think as an organization, we need to have planning. Probably we would have misjudged the fact that when COVID hit in 2020, jobs were going down. Everyone under the impression was that this may take a little longer time to come up, but fortunately or unfortunately, relative for people, it just gone up, and we couldn't really have time to plan to mitigate the risk. What happened between the load to jump? So I think from an organization perspective, we really need to see what we can offer for employees. Some of them expect a well-being. How is I'm treated more financially, emotionally, physically in this organization? What are the things they really care? Are they caring? The care factor also we started hearing in this last 2 years, right? Earlier, employees were not really worried about this care, and maybe most of us may not know the meaning of care. But the last 2 years, the mostly used word is care. How an employer is caring me, and it become a vital aspect for any candidate to stay in the organization. The second aspect came into fact is the growth. It is not that the growth was not there previously, but the growth is now become very prominent. That am I getting growth, whether vertical or horizontal? And also, as some of us said that the opportunity to shift domain. Earlier, tech guys go only tech. Maybe from services company they go to startup. Now people from tech is going to pharma, people from tech is going to healthcare, people from healthcare is coming to tech. So the amalgamation of talent is like everywhere. We really don't know what is that we really don't do. But I think the opportunity is there. People are capturing as an employer. It's a win-win situation for both employers and employees to see how we really manage what is that we need, and how we really use our talent to make sure that we don't really lose the productivity, we don't lose the deadline, we don't lose the top talent who really want to stay in the company. So I think we need to proactively look at some of the aspects to see how we can plan this, and I think that's what I would see as opportunities and challenges for employees. Manas, back to you.
Thank you, Abdul. Good perspective. The growing. I mean, I particularly like the mention about the growing consciousness about care by the employer, as well as growing consciousness about growth, both vertically, horizontally, domain-wise, etc. So nice perspectives. So with that, we probably come back to Praveen. Praveen, we missed your opinion about the first questions. Do you want to go now?
So even before I speak, I just want to check, am I audible?
Yes.
Super, thanks. Okay, I come from an organization where we believe that our mission, our vision is to pioneer sustainable aerospace for a safe and united world. So if you pick up the word safe, so what we meant is that whatever we do, safety is our first priority. Even if we develop a piece of code, we have to ensure that it gets through certifications and it goes, it is safe, it is approved. So what we call it as DO178 standards. So you have A, B, C, D, E, and so on and so forth, depending on the level of impact, and the catastrophic damage it might create of any other. So that is the industry I'm coming. Once when I met a couple of people in this window, I used to boost off saying that our attrition rate is around 2 to 3%. It's a dream now. I used to say the turnaround time to onboard a person, to offer a person is around 30 to 35 days. People used to look at me. I said, now I say it's a dream now. Offer rejection was very hardly anything for us. And it was, very single digits. But today, again, it is a dream. That is the kind of impact. And now, when I talk about attrition, if an Airbus engineer resigns or moves to another organization, it is seriously a big impact because of the domain knowledge, right? We definitely need people who are in programming in C, C++, are as old as ADA. But the domain knowledge is something it takes ages to train, right? So we have been seriously impacted by this. All I can tell about the tech shortage, because our industry talent is very attractive for other industries, especially healthcare or let's say banking application, because You can just imagine a person hiring for a banking application. He would be really interested to onboard someone from Airbus because the guy who is coming from Airbus is really mindful of safety standards, right? So that is the impact. Now, coming to the second point about temptation to jump laterally, right? See, now what is important, which I need to share, which I wanted to share here, which you all know, but it's just a reflection here, is that everything is transparent. Everyone knows everything. Everything is on the social media. You go, you find average salary, you go, what's happening. You can ping someone, you know what's happening, right? There are communities talking about it. A lot of things are, I mean, you cannot hide anything, right? So if you are if you're not ensuring that you are at par with the market, you're killed. As simple as it is. Okay, you need to keep yourself about special schemes and so on. So now every 6 months we are doing a benchmarking exercise to see where we are. That's too much, yeah, but it is necessary, right? And you need to ensure that where you are flexible and so on and so forth. Now these are things, there are multiple things which is leading for people to go out, but definitely one perspective right now we have to agree is that the job value for what people are performing has increased and they are jumping for sure, but there are multiple other factors. So probably as we speak, I would like to get to know the opinion of others, but as we speak we can want to share what are we doing in our companies and we can exchange. But I pass the mic back to you, Manas.
Thank you, Praveen. So onboarding time, offer rejection, attrition, very good metrics that are, I mean, the core metrics by the TA organization. So everything got a hit in the last few months, couple of years. I mean, I guess.
OKR is
Complex
the base, whatever
organizations.
we speak.
OKR. Okay.
That's
Yeah.
the base.
And interesting point you made about having to benchmark every 6 months. Yeah, I mean, when it gets to that, the situation gets to that. That's quite extreme. So on the second question on temptations and causes about experienced resources jumping laterally, Anjana, your views?
Sure. Thank you, Manas. So I think we have to view it a little, in a different way because it may not be the same reason that will be applicable across levels, right? So I think, if I may give it a little, classification out here, maybe at an entry level or probably a 3 to 7 years category of employees, it's very easy to get swayed by the kind of attractive offers and attractive hikes that are being offered by the competition, non-competition, other industry, other companies. And social media is just rampant with, I mean, I get into LinkedIn and I get 100 notifications on what are the possible job options for me, right? So imagine for a techie, what kind of options will be available, right? So it's beautifully attractive for them. I mean, if they don't get tempted by that, it's going to be unbelievable, right? It's I think as Oscar Wilde has on a lighter vein, as Oscar Wilde has said, you can resist anything but temptation, and I think that particular group of people will get impacted the most because probably they are the most vulnerable. I mean, that's a generic statement, but that is what we do observe, right? Easily. Now, if you come to the mid segment and probably a senior segment, there would be other priorities, right? And with again, I would like to bring pandemic here in perspective because a lot of opportunities threw themselves open. Though pandemic constrained us in certain ways, it became a boon for probably Microsoft, right? Because we are on Teams, right? And it is a huge opportunity for Microsoft, right? Similarly, we are in an era where we can connect to anybody. I don't think we need to even travel. I mean, you can be on a virtual conference globally. I think the next BCIC we should probably do a global one, right? Because we really don't have any restriction, right? So that's the kind of opportunity that is being presented. So I belong to Generation X. So I tend to think I have a lot of my peers who are my friends, etc., who have thought about relocating back to their hometowns, probably be in one beautiful location for 6 months, another beautiful location. I've listened to stories like this where somebody has chosen to travel to one beautiful location after the other and then working from there, etc. And so they want to have that flexibility. And when employers are ready to offer that flexibility, obviously there are takers for it, and people are willing to experiment now. Obviously, pandemic has also been a great teacher. So people have started reprioritizing what they value for themselves and their families. And now if you ask many whether you want to come back to office and work from office, answer would be a dismal no from many, because they are already very tuned to be working from home. A lot of priorities have been shifted and a lot of things have been straightened out. Some more family time, though, of course, you're physically with the family and you're working all the time, that's a different scenario. However, the idea is, a lot of things have changed. I think it's time that we realize that times have changed and people are looking at more customized approach when it comes to employing people. So that's my take on it. And back to you, Manas.
Thank you, Anjana. Like those mentions about people making personal choices. I mean, that's very heartening to hear. I mean, when we were children, or our previous generation, the choices, I mean, life choices, lifestyle choices, were not so much there. And our generation and our next generation are having those choices. Our country is moving. Is extremely heartening to see. Career choices, lifestyle choices,
And
financial
people are
choices.
willing to exercise that, so that's very heartening to see. Yes.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Praveen, sorry, Praveen, you have already answered that. So Aditya.
Yeah, so you know, perspective is pretty similar. What all of these guys spoke about. I think the context, what we need to realize is we need to go back and in 2020 when a lot of companies stopped hiring, some of them let go of people. What happened post that is people realize how their employer would react to a situation, or if there is an impression which gets created, right? A lot of the panelists spoke about being human, being connected. I think that's the part which came out at that period of time. Post that, while some of the companies were still hiring, we were still hiring, but not everybody wasn't hiring at that period of time. Post that, company realized they need people. The work started coming in. They saved a lot of money via infrastructure, via not traveling, a lot of other ways. They saved a lot of money. The organizations thought, okay, this is the right time to go back and invest, hire, get people in, and everybody opened the floodgates. Henceforth, there is a huge, everybody started jumping around for jobs. Now, it's a human concept. I think I was reading somewhere, I think that 50% of the people have always thought about changing jobs in this particular time. The problem is, as I think so, Abdul spoke about it, Praveen also spoke about, is people, their batchmates, friends, everybody looking out for a job at the same time. People are just looking out for a job just for the sake of doing something different, right? Because you are alienated, you are next to your laptop, and your updates of your friends either come on a Facebook or on a LinkedIn. You see, oh, this person is changing job. Let me apply. And as what Anjana said, if you open your LinkedIn, you will say, okay, preferred places for you. And there is always a temptation, as the right word, to see and click, okay, this looks interesting. You were never looking for something, but something just cropped up your way. So I think that's what realization has happened, and as people have realized what is important, I think so. Companies have also realized work can be done from home, and now people are looking for jobs where there's huge amount of flexibility. And I think all of my panelists will agree, and all of us have done surveys within our organization. Nobody wants to come in a week maximum more than 2.5 days, not more than that. If that's the standard, everybody is going back to that. Remote roles have gone up, Manas, in the last this thing. If you look at the trending, Naukri has now a click there for remote roles, right? It wasn't there for quite some time. Organizations started doing that. Accessibility, the other part is accessibility for you to get interviewed is far more easier. What do you need? You just need to sit for 4 or 5 rounds of interviews next to your laptop, you'll get through a job. The turnaround time from an interviewing standpoint has crunched because you're not physically walking to an office, right? You are available anytime, you are able to do that. And the last but not the least is transparency and trust. I think somebody spoke about that. You are there because even if you don't speak about it, there are enough websites which will talk about the organization, authenticity, trust, which they can read about. So the power power is not the right word, but yeah, the ability to choose is now with the candidate, and it's become a candidate-led market. The employers are realizing it, and if we move to the right word of giving flexibility, you will be in a good position from an employer standpoint. But yeah, it's an employee-led market. Back to you, Manas.
Thank you, Aditya. So sometime back, I was doing my master's in artificial intelligence, and one of the common use cases that are given to students of artificial intelligence, machine learning, is that creating recommendation systems. So, and typical domains that are chosen are your Amazon product merchandising on e-commerce sites, or say, for instance, Netflix movie recommendation, etc. So those are typical cases. So now then there will soon be a job recommendation for people. I mean, literally, what you mentioned is that choices, like when you go to Amazon, choices are flashed to you. I mean, choices that you would like are flashed to you. I mean, that's product recommendation or movie recommendation on Netflix, and job recommendation by LinkedIn. So that's the e-commerce of career.
Added to that is Alexa. You should never forget Alexa.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So that's a good idea actually. So job recommendations on Alexa. I mean, a couple of times a day, you can set an alert in Alexa. What's hot in the market? Somebody can write an API on that. Right. All right. So we were talking about the problem side till now. What in your mind can be some of the steps that the industry can take in terms of attempting to retain employees, as the cost of hire is, of course, astronomical, as we've heard from you. Your strategies may include internal cross-skilling, upskilling, employee engagement, various strategies on employee engagement. So what are the few things we can do in terms of uh, increasing our ability to retain our employees? Same cycle, Abdul, maybe?
So for me, I think the next wave or the next wave for us is how you really transform the employee engagement to a higher level, or how you really strengthen that particular muscle. Today, we all speak or spoke about that, but I don't know whether everybody is really putting that effort to see that how we can really strengthen, because today the traffic is on enormous opportunity, compensation, people are leaving. So what is that we can do as an employer? I think for me, how you really strengthen that engagement muscle is most important aspect. For me, it's like 5 factors, right? One is the culture and connection. In the last 2 years, if you really see that, every company would have hired, large number of people. Even the small companies would have at least hired 100 people or 200. This stickiness from the employee to employer, I think that is now like a dream, right? Everybody is only, as Anjana said, it's only the uh, technology is driving us. We can meet them in Zoom, we can have coffee connect, we can have team dinner on Zoom, but the stickiness around the employee and employer, I think it's slowly reduced. Maybe I think the companies start invest in that aspect, and how can really create that stickiness. In those days we used to call it loyalty. I don't know whether it's loyalty and stickiness is same, but stickiness is one thing which we need to focus. And how can you really reorient your organization culture, which focus on some of the aspect of well-being and all other aspect, right? What is that you really tell them? Bringing that integrity, transparency into the front door, and people need to have the trust in between the supervisor and the uh, employee. Because for me, always I believe, for a, as Anjana said, for a frontline employee, the organization is the immediate supervisor. How the supervisor is providing each experience for them to create that trust and probably become an attribute to build the trust is very, very important. Many experience, if the experience is consistent, that experience will become the culture of that particular team. How you really build that culture is, I think, most important aspect everyone needs to start looking at. The second thing, Aditya said, flexibility. How can we continue to provide flexibility for employees at the same time, which we can predict predictability, right? Today, people speak only about flexibility, working from home, or can I work 1 day in office or 4 days in home? Can I work? Can we make the office only 3 days a week? Rest of the 4 days we can have, you know, off. But I think as an organization, we need to start focusing on how we can create the flexibility with predictability so that both the employee and employer knows that what's going to happen in the next week or next 2 weeks or next 1 month, with providing that work-life balance for employees so that they know that this is really going to help us for both employee and employer. The third aspect for me is the growth and development. How you really bring the reskilling, upskilling, and it's not that we are not doing this. One of the opportunity we see in today's world is that you are reskilling or upskilling people, but very rarely you put them on to the job. You know, when you don't put them on the job where you skilled them, it becomes very tempting for them that, hey, I was trained in data science, but I'm not getting opportunity here. Let me try outside whether the same examples we got today. If you open your mobile, you get that. If you open your Alexa, you will get that. If you open your LinkedIn, you will get thousands of job opportunities, whether it is relevant for you. But the moment you put data science on your email, Gmail, LinkedIn will give you all data science jobs. The AI at its best. So people need to see how we reskill them and how we use them, or how you put them or utilize them in the way they are skilled or reskilled. That also provide opportunity for them to really grow and develop. The fourth aspect for me is how you really create a culture of appreciation. Today, most of the organizations are going on the monetary recognition aspect, but how you really create that culture of appreciation also very, very important for any employer or an employee to see that how the employee is looking up to, whether it's just a pat on the back or just a thank you or a you did a good job. How you really create that moments for that matters for employees. The last one, not the least, is the well-being. We arrange conferences, we arrange seminars for people, but how you really instill or really implement the well-being aspect to the organization, whether it is physical, emotional, financial, and which if the people are able to embrace that, I think the organization will better or get benefit out of retaining most of their great talent, and not talent, but it creates a place that people want to come back. Today, I don't know how many of people say that, okay, let me come back tomorrow. I don't know. But once you build these elements or muscles stronger, I think you will have more and more people will say that I will come back tomorrow morning with a lot of smile. With that, I'll give you back, Manas.
Thank you, Abdul. Lots of important points. Stickiness. I mean, I'm already thinking that the phrase you mentioned, trust, creating the trust between the manager and the employee. We should actually have a webinar just on that. I mean, this is something that a lot of us really need to understand and inculcate. And it's not easy. It's not common in people in managers. I mean, it's a very difficult trait to understand. So thank you for that, Abdul. We go over to Aditya yourself.
All right. So, a great point, Abdullah. It's pretty similar to the way we are thinking. I think we need to understand, let me try and add on to Abdul's points, and we'll try not to be repetitive. You know, employees, if you go and ask employees, they want feedback, right? They want to give organization feedback. I think it's very important. Organizations have started doing a lot of surveys, and I think so they moved from an annual to at least a 6 monthly survey. They want their feedback to be taken and acted upon. I think that's what people are looking at from an individual standpoint, and they want the employees want to be taken care of and see those implementation happen. The other part, I always feel that if you can showcase how they are contributing to the growth of the organization, it'll be very good, because then they realize how they are adding on from an organization perspective, how the kind of workforce they do adds on to the larger organization. So that's the other thing. Flexibility, as I spoke about, I think that this plays now an important part. If you want to be a good flexible organization where you will realize that you will live in a hybrid world, I think so all people will stay in the organization for a longer period of time. Investing in employees to making them learn better, because the learning quotient is very important. We are living in a world where we need to upskill ourselves very fast, even if it's digital or non-digital. It's very important. So not customizing, giving them the opportunity to choose what is best for them, but enabling them to pick up the right opportunities. So if the employee sees the investment in that direction, they will stay in our organization. They would like to be engaged more. We need to make sure that we engage more. It's very difficult in a world which we live in, which is virtual and hybrid, and it is a challenge. All of us are learning from that phase. You also have a lot of new managers who are becoming managers but have not managed teams, but now managing a team which is virtual. So very difficult, right? So people are learning as we move forward, and organizations are also learning. They're taking a lot of these inputs. And last but not the least is data, right? How does your employee respond to these surveys? How what's the leaves? What are all these inferences? What you can make out of this data and see what is the consistency or inconsistency which you are seeing from an employee standpoint. That will play a very important part from an organization perspective. And for a world which we live in, you need a lot of mentorship. You need some amount of hand holding. It's very difficult for somebody who is virtually onboarded, maybe for last 1.5 years, has not met someone physically. What maybe Manas and I might have met each other physically. It's a different camaraderie where Abdul and I wouldn't have met. So there's a different this thing. So you need more hand holding, you need mentorship, you need someone to guide people around. This will address the infant mortality a lot of organizations are also facing lately from an organization perspective. So those are my inputs back to you, Manas.
Thank you, Aditya. Again, a lot of good points. The importance of employees feeling that they are being heard, their feedbacks are being heard and being acted upon. I particularly liked your point about enabling the employees to pick up the right opportunity existing within the organization. So very, very important. And in my experience, not very well practiced by organizations. So these are some things definitely we in organizations can inculcate, nurture. Um, Anjana, did I go to you? No, Anjana.
All right. Yes, I think very valid points by Abdul and Aditya. In fact, listening was one point that I did have in mind, and creating trust. I think that's the fundamental crux of everything. I think the minute there is a trust, I don't think many people will really want to leave, right? That's the fundamental thing. I think here we are talking about uh, capacity management, right? So, enabling the managers or the leaders to create a very nimble ecosystem, I think is a very, very crucial. So utilizing technologies that will help identify some early warning indicators. Say, for example, if there is, I think clubbing, yeah, maybe I would say is combining the listening skills and technology. If there are early warning indicators that, the team members are probably not in alignment to what is happening, that would definitely help the managers pick up the cue and go ahead and act on that particular cue. In order to understand what is it that the employee really requires, and a lot of proactive measures, in line with that will help a lot in understanding the employee, creating the trust, and also the listening comes naturally with that. So I think it is about really looking at ground level, and with this kind of virtual and hybrid scenario, what's happening is the coffee cooler conversations are missing. So people are not able to share much. So, I really feel that the effort from not only the managers here, so though I'm from the HR team, retention is everybody's job, right? Especially the supervisor level person needs to take a very, very active interest. So the minute there is that level of sincerity and the level of personal connect, the human, I think the high touch points have to be very, very high here and has to be enhanced, because the social capital factor is very fast depleting, because we all know that the research has also shown that the productivity does increase with more informal relationships at the office sitting. So basically, you have a friend. One of the most frequently asked questions in an employee satisfaction survey is, "Do you have a friend in your company?" So the minute you are having a friend, or you connect on a personal level with your colleagues, there is a bond that is formed, which is emotional. And the minute there is an emotional connect, in fact, even attrition happens because of the emotional connect. Because I think my co-panelist also mentioned something about the peer pressures are very, very rampant, right? So the minute there is that unsettling, feeling, then there is no stopping it. But the idea is to really give that confidence to individuals. And I am actually very happy to say that, I have a very huge team, and we are fairly able to contain the attrition. Purely by the investment that we make in terms of really taking time to talk to the team members, and also it may not be me who will talk to the team members, it may be their direct supervisors who will be talking, but that connect is extremely crucial. To hold them together is very, very important right now. I will say that the human element is far more important than any other time, right now, not only for retaining, which is a very important ask, the even for the mental well-being and the health of the individuals who are involved, because sometimes we are putting in longer hours, right? Because the demand is high, pressure is there. So it's important to hold them together. It's really important to create that connect and trust, because creating that sense of vulnerability also, to be very frank, saying that we are all in it together, right? And sense of purpose that is associated with it creates that bond to the company, because your supervisor is your company. That nobody can deny that, right? Whatever your supervisor says, your supervisor is not, treating you well. That is the number one reason. To go ahead and look at it. It's a really well-known fact, right? People leave people, not the organizations. So creating trust, creating that feeling of belongingness, really going out and going on a high-touch mode to create that extra room for understanding and better sense of belongingness, I would say. Listening very keenly, more than ever before. I think I have also heard about a new job title, which is called Chief Listening Officer, right? That's something that I came across very recently. And talking about new jobs, a lot of new jobs are also getting created, and more and more people are also choosing to move laterally. So encourage that, because the traditional way is to look at from a project leader to group leader to then higher up and head and group head, etc., right? That is the normal perception about leadership. But even if somebody moves laterally or into an architect role, which is a technical growth path, that should be made acceptable. So encouraging and showcasing such success stories to the employees, to say that these are successful career paths, will also be a very, very good way to say that yes, there is future for you in this company, and this is how you are aligned to the company. I think that's my 2 cents. Back to you, Manas.
Thank you, Anjana. Very nice lessons. Like the point that you made, that productivity is increased with the informal connects, which brings up emotional connects between the manager and the employees. So with that, Praveen, we will go for your comments.
Sure. I think a lot of thoughts what I have are similar to what our colleagues have shared here. But I will tell you some things what we have done at Airbus India here. Maybe that would be useful. And I would also want to receive feedback from you people to reflect back on that. See, what I felt is that employees are clear. They are very, very, they are very bivalent right now. Okay, what I get here, what I don't get here. That's the kind of mindset they are having. They start getting into comparison mode. Like we said, everything is available on internet. So now, first piece, this company has done a salary benchmarking exercise. Okay, we are at par, which technically means that Okay, anyways, if I go out also, I get this kind of offer or probably a 10 or 15% extra, even if they have benchmarked it. So money sorted out. Even if I go out, I get it. I think we need to give the employees a feeling. You might beat me for that, but they need to be worried about. I will miss A, B, C, D, E, F if I go out of this organization, right? So they need to be really scared of that. And how do we do that? One, the first and foremost thing is to be very, very empathetic, right? And I do not want to get into the details. All of us have done extremely good in taking care of our employees and their families in COVID-19 situation. Okay, starting from providing vaccinations or hospitals and so on and so forth. But right now, the second piece, what I wanted to tell, what we did in Airbus India is that we have a program called as PLD, Potential Leadership Development Program. So what happens ideally is that the nominations comes from the managers. Listen, I feel this person is high potential and this person is a future leader. So can I nominate? No. We open it like an MBA program and anyone can apply. You'll have to go through a certain process. And if you want to go to that program, you will have to clear this process and you can apply. So which technically means that they don't have the fear that manager takes care whether I have to progress in technical leadership or whatever kind of leadership line. Third, Aditya spoke about feedback, right? We did something here. What we did is that we we did one step aside. We created cohorts of employees or groups of employees, or you can call as learning group also, where they did the entire piece for us and they are sitting and defining the policies along with us. Okay, so you can say the policies are written by employees, facilitated by HR. You can go to that extent. Even Airbus values are drafted by employees. It's bottom up approach. We have 6 values. I'm just giving an example, right? We have launched 200 plus wellness programs for employees as well as family. Wherever possible, we get the family into the picture also, right? That's a connect we wanted to create. And in terms of growth, we have been constantly drum beating, consistently saying that employees in the driver's seat, and we do career management workshops regularly to enlighten them to tell what is available in front of them, right? So what we also do is that we get group of people on the career management workshop and we run that. We make them really feel that they have all the options available and they need to choose what it is, right? And a lot of programs, we felt that what we do for employee, what we do, we create a program, we deploy it. We create a program, we deploy it. We create something as an initiative, we deploy it. Now what we are doing is that we are focusing on the ERGs and we are pulling them in and we are letting them take the ownership. So what happens when you take the ownership is that they become the promoters, they become the ambassadors, right? So I will not take the name of an ex company, but recently, surprisingly, we wanted those people to join us actually, because that's the closest match. And around 15 people in the last 5 months have joined us. And when I went back and checked the stats, if something goof up has happened, some mess is happening, what is happening here? It's like that all the 15 are employee referrals. The reverse engineering to check with the applicants, why do you wish to join Airbus? They tell me that you do this, your employees told us, that's why we want to join you. And your employees are our ex-colleagues. Thank you.
That's nice. That would be the closest company would be your business competitor, isn't it?
The leading question.
No, that's fine. So yeah, I mean, these are very nice initiatives, Praveen, Potential Leaders Development Program, and I am particularly fascinated by the fact that you said that Airbus values are written by the employees. I mean, that's a very high level of empowerment. So thank you for that. So we'll go on to our last question, and I'll put it as open-ended. So any other suggestion that you have or alternative strategies that you think are going to be useful in terms of I don't know, maybe retention is something that we have already touched upon. maybe to bring in more talent into the pool, kind of hiring, making hiring more effective, etc. Especially, I'm more interested about hearing about bringing more talent pool into the industry. How can we do that uh, to kind of help with the challenge? I mean, the challenge is about there are not enough people with right skills in the industry. So how can we solve that problem? So if we put in more people, skilled people in the economy, that's going to be one strategy. So your thoughts on that? So maybe we can start with Anjana, a little shuffled now.
I'll start, is it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So what we have done, I think I will go back to one of the probably most recent practices that we've been able to deploy from our training and development, rather the learning space, is to equip the students. So by talent pool creation, I'm thinking you're talking about the trainee pool, Manas, or is it the lateral hire pool that you're talking about? The trainee
Not
pool, maybe.
lateral hires. So I mean, lateral hires do not increase the total pool in the industry. I mean, bringing a new pool in the industry is something that is going to help very much.
Okay, so from a trainee pool perspective, it is more to equip them with what is latest in, But what I've always understood, in fact, from BCIC perspective, also we've also seen instances where the bridge is very, very difficult. I mean, the gap is very difficult to bridge between what the industry expectations are and what the academia is able to offer. And I do not want to do a blame game for, towards either industry or academia, because I think both sectors are doing whatever they are able to do in order to bridge the gap. However, the pace at which the advancement is happening at this point in time, it's not very easy. So what we have adopted as a model is, it's a very, very dynamic one, is to prepare the students right up front, as and when they are, so we obviously our volumes are extremely high when it comes to campus hires. We have come up with few innovative practices of not only going to the institutions and hiring them. We have a national qualifier test, which will make every student, whoever is eligible across India, to apply to TCS, and then they are able to come in. We also have an alternative talent, strategy wherein the game-based hiring, right? The gamified hiring, wherein we run a lot of contests. So one of the quickest ways to attract the top talent probably in the country is to run a, say for example, if it is for advanced skills, coding, etc., it would be good to run a contest or a game, etc. And because of the kind of technology that is involved, you are able to pinpoint the location from which this particular talent can be actually, like the way you showed us the map on where the scarcity is more, we will be able to actually locate on the map where the talent is. And we will not, and surprising finding for us was that um, absolutely brilliant talent came. Earlier, we used to have accredited colleges with us, right? We used to have, collaboration with a set of institutions. But the minute we realized after the games were deployed, we realized that it was an equal amount of talent, which was exemplary, both from our, institutions that we were collaborating with, and from the non-collaborating institutions. So even tier 2 cities, tier 3 cities, we have immense talent. So I think tapping that potential is something that we were able to do. And really looking at what is, so one thing for advantages here for the student is to understand what is the company really looking for. The minute such a contest is launched, they also get an idea about what the company is looking for. Second is, we also have come up with a curriculum that has been handed over to the VTU, which will be, which, any of the engineering colleges can go ahead and adopt, depending upon the, the particular need. And third one, which I would say, is to really look at, after offering the students, we also put them through a program. By the time they join, some of the training is already over. Right, so the training time after onboarding and the further deployment, etc., the turnaround time is much more lesser. So this is a very clinical answer that I had to give, because your question was very focused on what do we do to really bring in talent. So I just thought it would be important to touch upon some of the good practices which may be of use to anyone, right? So these are some of the points that came top of the mind, Manas. Thanks. Back to you.
Thanks, Sanjana. And I mean, some of us already know about some of these initiatives that, yeah, they're actually pretty famous in the my industry that TCS practices this the game-based hiring, you said, and the curriculum to the VTU, and pretty well known in the market. So great things from TCS. We will go over to you, Aditya.
Yeah, so as I said, be very specific from a hiring perspective. From a campus perspective, we do internship, and these are colleges which offer 1 year internship. That gives enough time from a business standpoint to go ahead and train these people on real life projects, and these people actually are working on live projects on real time solutioning. They're not working on which is a greenfield training or something else. They're working on this, and we've seen almost about 90+% conversion into full time a year later from a hiring perspective. So that trains the assets back. We have MOUs because Informatica as a product is part of large scale. All GICs have Informatica as a capability. So we have a couple of MOUs where we certify a lot of the students on Informatica, and that happens. And that talent pool actually moves to a lot of the big GICs as we speak, some of the colleges which we have. We run a lot of codathons. In fact, we're running one right now for hiring for the next year, where we run specific codathons on solutioning, and we will go ahead and hire these people as interns in our organization as we speak. Uh, Even from a lateral and also to a campus, we do a lot of work on meetups, right? We do technical meetups where we have people who go ahead and speak in a couple of these forums on the technology and the kind of work, because meetups are predominantly one where actually who's interested will go ahead and join those sessions, right? So you have you have a lot of talent which comes and speak, join those sessions, and we are able to go ahead and speak on things what we do, also showcase the kind of work which we've been bringing. So that's one area which has really helped us. We have invested in one or two tools which gives us the worldwide heat maps of talent pool availability, which company, which location, and everything else. We look at some of those assessment tools from a hiring perspective. So these are some of the things which we try and look at investment. And last but not the least, our employee reference as are our biggest advocate from an organization perspective. So they really help us move the inch much more faster than anybody else would do. Manas, back to you.
Thank you. We'll go quickly over to Abdul and then Praveen.
Yeah, so I will probably look at this as two aspects. One is from an existing employer, an embedded base, and from how you really attract talent from the market. If you really see from an embedded base, we see that we have a model called engaged, empowered, and future ready. How can we create a talent which is engaged and which is empowered, and how we really make them future ready? You see that what is that is going to come to us in the couple of years, maybe 2 to 3 years, and how are you preparing both the employee and the organization for that? Now, rather than looking at capacity management, how can we start looking at talent management? Right? If you really shift that towards the talent management, and you know that what is that you really want to build in the next few years, how you really want to really upskill or reskill your talent so that they are ready and they also see that there is a growth or there is an opportunity for me to do something different than what I'm doing, conventional way what I'm doing so far in the company. That's one way of to look into it. The second thing is how you really create a marketplace for your employees within the organization. All organizations probably hire n number of skills or maybe 200 skills with every year. Are we really using our own employees to provide opportunity for them to apply experience and see that what is that they need to upskill for to get their job? Maybe based on the career aspiration, maybe based on the skill aspiration they have. How you really create a marketplace for your own employees within the organization is another step what we do, which we base all our conversation based on career architecture. What we call as talent GPS, which really help for us to really locate the talent for both employee from a perspective, from a supervisor perspective, and from an organization perspective. How this talent GPS is going to help all the three main stakeholders and as an organization. and also provide that clarity and transparency for people that, hey, this is how we are moving towards, so that this is an opportunity, it's on your way. And also, as I previously said, how you really skill them and utilize them on the skill thing, which also create more stickiness around the employee base. If you really see from an external hiring standpoint, we also start looking at some of the non-conventional way of hiring people, not from the same. If you need Java, just go to the market and look at Java from the same market where you always hire. How can we really get diverse talent, which probably not our way or used to hire? Maybe have programs like Thrive, which really goes to underprivileged community and see that how we can really pick them and train them and give an opportunity for them to really drive. We have programs to really build diverse talent from career break women employees who are left their career or have a break in their career based on many reasons. How you really bring them back and how you really help them to be upskill in their probably the area or the time which they left, and how you really help them to come up to speed with the new gen or the current population. And the more diverse ways of looking at it, I think every organization is going to help both from it's going to benefit in two ways. One is to bring talent, which is shortfall at this point of time, and also bring a diverse talent. The more diversity will also going to help with more thoughts, new ideas, diverse ideas to the organization. It's going to help you to reduce the time, effort, and the cost what you're looking at. So from an external standpoint, you definitely need to start looking at diverse ways to hire talent and also provide opportunity, and also see which are the non-conventional areas where you have not touched or untapped. Can you tap that? And those are some of the things which will help you. And from the internal, as I said, let's focus on more on talent management than the capacity management. Back to you, Manas.
Thank you, Abdul. Again, an interesting set of points. During the time of this, the last 1.5 hour, I have taken 4 pages of notes, and I'm actually feeling that I have saved the cost of a full-fledged training at IAMB. So much knowledge I have actually gathered, and I'm sure for the audience as well. So, sorry, Praveen, finishing with yourself.
So I'm the luckiest one because I get to speak in the last. So, so you want me to tell all the unique things. So probably I'll tell you some things what we do in Airbus India. The first thing is that it's just a mere coincidence, okay, that this talent crunch is going, and at Airbus India we are looking at a growth which we have never seen it from last 12 years, right? So when I joined the organization, it was around 130 before 10 or 12 years, and today we are around 1,600 people, and we look forward to become 2,000. So in this year itself, we are expected to roll out roughly around 700 odd offers, let's say. So it's just a coincidence. So what we did is that we mapped up our entire talent search, and we looked at sectors of which all experience range we would like to select, and so on and so forth. And then every area we have identified certain areas. So for example, one thing what we have started looking for is the academic communities. There are a lot of aggregators in this area where they are training people and upskilling them to the industry level. So we have tied up with them, let's say, for example. So similarly, we have started working on new techniques of identifying talent. What we call it as reverse engineering. Reverse engineering is a concept where we don't go through the job descriptions first. First, we look at this job description, who we hired. So we are sitting on a data mine from the last 3 years because we set up a GIC. So we are looking at the candidates who joined us, who did not join us, who are yet to join us, and from their projects and details and all those things, we are trying to contact their peers or colleagues or ex-colleagues and so on and so forth. What we call it as reverse engineering. Second one practice, what we are doing is to decrease our lead time. We are trying to adopt the IPO, definitely not the LIC, what comes into your mind, but interview process outsourcing, right? There are agencies which actually do only this as their USP as a business. Now, Aditya spoke about internships. Internships has always worked for us because we have something called as early career program. The moment a person finishes internship, we go put him through assessment, regardless of there is a position or not. And then we say, yes, there is a position, we can offer him right away, what you all know it as PPO and so on and so forth. So this has worked for all these years. But we identified that whenever we are going to campus placement, even in the premium universities, we are not getting the expected output when we interview the candidates. There are gaps. So we created a program called as Early Bird, which means that internships start in third or so or third year, right? Let's say in engineering. We went to first year and second year, and in the first year itself, we take them, we onboard for a special mentorship program where they will not do any internship. It will be like a 5 months program, and we meet twice in a month to exchange, give them documents to read, give them submission, they come and present, and so on and so forth, right? So this we are doing so that they actually understand what happens in industry and they can connect that theory while they are studying that to the industry problem. This is how we are trying to fill the skill gap. And definitely I have a lot of stories to share, but for some other day. Thanks.
Absolutely
Manoj.
nice initiatives. I mean, early bird, the particularly like the early birds initiative. I mean, I don't think I have heard anything like this. I mean, catching them on the first year done by any company. So very unique. Thank you for that. Thank you. Thanks all of you. In the interest of time, we have gone over time quite a bit. So in the interest of time, respectful for everybody's time, whatever want to give back, whatever time is left for the rest of the evening. Lot of learning. I have personally learned a lot. All the viewpoints, your own personal opinions, your organizational initiatives. It's a I mean plethora of knowledge. I am personally going back with. I'm sure the audience is also. Any last comments, Richa?
No, it was amazing. I mean, also kudos to all of you. I mean, we had 200 plus participation throughout listening to you guys, and I'm sure you people gave interesting insights for everyone to take away today evening, and that too weekend starting from tomorrow. So I'm sure good food for the next 2 days, and also to pick good practices for them to kind of take them to their organization as well. I'm good. I think thanks to all the audience coming in. Thanks to the panelists. Look forward to have more interaction with all of you in different forums. Thank you, Manas. Moderation was wonderful. Thanks for making it engaging. Thank you, Abdul. Thank you, Anjana, Praveen, and Aditya for giving your valuable 2 hours almost on Friday. I'm sure. I hope your family don't might be waiting. Oh, when it's going to be over, and
No, they asked us. They asked us. We said we are with Manas and Richa. They said, okay, no problem.
we are not going to come in front of them any of the day. Amazing. Great. Thanks. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
I think
you. We will close the
yeah,
call now.
great evening.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye bye.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.